Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final session of the Pentawards Festival Online Edition 2022. Up next, we have an extremely interesting presentation that will cover functional design and eco-performance. We have Vincent from UPM Raflatac, which is one of the world's leading producers of self-adhesive labels materials, and they are also a Pentawards partner. Vincent will be talking alongside not one, but two representatives from Lillet, which is part of the Pernod Ricard Group, Lisa and Cécile. Following this presentation, we're going to be answering your questions, so please pop them in the Q&A box below. And if you want to share on social media, make sure you're using the hashtag @Pentawards and making sure that you're tagging the Pentawards. So without further ado, I'm going to give a big warm welcome to Vincent, Lisa, and Cécile. Welcome.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you to have this opportunity to close this two-day session of Pentawards Spring Festival. Ladies first, so Lisa, Cécile, I let you introduce yourself.
Okay, I begin. Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Belgacimi. I'm in charge of quality, safety, environment, and production in Maison Lillet.
Hello, everyone. I'm Cécile Bernhard. I'm in charge of all operations within Maison Lillet, where I've been working for the past 20 years now.
And hi, everyone. I am Vincent Tavernier, packaging solution manager for UPM Raflatac and wine and spirits packaging expert since a long time. We will begin. I will share my screen. And let's go. So the original definition of design is an aesthetic applied to the search for new forms adapted to their function. In recent years, the second part of this definition has been more or less discarded in our wine and spirits segment to make way for styling. However, the functional design is becoming increasingly relevant in a context of conception in search of meaning. This meaning, which is not only linked to the storytelling of the brand, but also and above all linked to the act of purchase. This is the famous "I buy what I am." Beyond the function of the object that I buy, what it says about me is essential. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do just proves what you believe in. Once we have said that, sustainability imposes itself on us as the real winner, the essential, but also the trap topic. Creating value is a common goal of most organizations. The search for sustainability has added a new economic dimension. For all brands, the new economic model is now access to social responsibility and the ecological awareness. With the consumer in search of meaning and transparency, greenwashing is no longer relevant, and the client's sanction is immediate. The aesthetic alone is subjective, versatile, whereas the meaning creates the consensus. That's why I'm very glad to be with you today, ladies, to talk about the repack you did for Lillet. And just before giving you the floor, let me illustrate my previous point with your packaging evolution. I grant you, it's not visually obvious, and yet it testifies to a deep change in the brand's strategy. Before going into details, Cécile, in few words, could you remind us who Lillet is and what is your brand story?
Yes, sure. So Maison Lillet was founded in 1872 by two brothers, Paul and Raymond, who were only 17 and 20 years old at the time, so very, very young entrepreneurs. They produced liqueurs, syrups, macerations. They sold fine wines and spirits, a bit of everything they could to provide their customers with every drink they needed. They decided to settle in Podensac, a small village near Bordeaux. At the end of this 19th century, tonic wines are quite popular in France. Therefore, taking advantage of this popularity and of our great location among Bordeaux vineyards, the two brothers created their own wine-based aperitif that they called Quina Lillet in 1887, using some of their fruit liqueurs as well as the wine that was present next to Podensac. The success was both fast in Europe, in France, and even in the US, starting with England in the 30s, and then the US in the 60s, where Lillet became the drink of New York high society. That's why also we created the second reference, Lillet Rouge, because the US market was fond of red wines and wanted to have another more masculine aperitif wine. So in the 70s, more than 80% of our productions was shipped to the US, and that's where the Lillet brothers decided to sell the company. And Bruno Bory, who at the time was a sales director at the wine negotiations in Bordeaux, discovered Lillet quite by chance in Manhattan and fell in love with it. So in 1985, he decided to buy over Maison Lillet with the ambition to restore the French market and also to expand, of course, the US one. He revamped the products and their packaging, staying true to the essence of Lillet and with the ambition to strike the right balance between a century-old recipe and modern know-how. So to cut it short, after meeting renewed success in France, he then sold the company to Pernod Ricard in order to launch the product on another scale, the world. In the past years, Lillet was relaunched in Germany, marking a transition for the brand to global growth and acceleration. Lillet is now a very big success story in Germany, but also in Austria and Belgium, and next, USA. So today, we are 10 people living next to Lillet in Podensac, and we are still producing all the Lillet there with new cellars in constructions to meet the global increase in demand. And at Maison Lillet, we are a dedicated team of about 10 people who oversees the authentic production process of Lillet. It is our mission to be the guardians of the temple, to continue the great heritage of Paul and Raymond, and also to be worthy of the trust of our clients. Say what you do what you say is our motto. So we strive every day to deliver quantities as well as continued quality. As you can see on this slide, Lillet is now an international rising star. It has been identified as a global big bet by Pernod Ricard. That means a brand that fits global consumer trends and has a high growth potential. So last year we did plus 33% in volume despite COVID, and we're activated in 30 countries. It's a big success, as I told you earlier, in Germany, and now starting again in the USA. But what is Lillet? So Lillet is a subtle blend of carefully selected wine and fruit infusion with an ABV of 17 degrees. It is crafted like in the 19th century with 15% fruit and about 85% wine from the Bordeaux region. So we carefully select the wines based on their qualities and organoleptic complexity, and also on their impact on environment. We select the fruit, the peels, the barks according to their freshness and their aromatic richness. Fruit macerations begin. The fruits are separately in cold maceration in alcohol. Once they are ready, we blend all the fruit and infusions and quinine infusions with the wine. That's what we called vinage. And the young Lillet will be stirred for a few weeks to blend and encourage the development of complex aromas. Once ready, we will send Lillet Blanc and Lillet Rouge cuvée in oak barrels, where they will get their fruity, rich and balanced flavor. After that, we will blend, do the assemblage of all the cuvées before embottling.
Effective brands know how to recognize our nostalgia for a simpler past and protect us from permanent change. As you said, Cécile, Lillet has existed since the end of 19th century. Making us change in continuity is the hardest thing for a brand. A question for you, Lisa. When you decide to change your packaging, what is the trigger for this need and what do you expect from that change?
Okay, Vincent, so to answer your question, I have to present you our CSR commitments, because with this great growth comes great responsibility. So Lillet has always been taking CSR commitments in order to ensure being in line with global issues. It is in Lillet's DNA. These commitments are in line with Pernod Ricard's global CSR roadmap, which is good times from a good place, which aims at reducing carbon intensity of the group by 50% by 2030. So, for example, about sourcing, 97% of ingredients come from France, more than 80% from the Southwest. We developed wine planting contracts with Bordeaux wine growers, which guarantees sustainable income for Lillet's partners, while the brand enjoys a qualitative and a trustworthy sourcing of its wine. And we implement incentives to our vineyards to help them convert to sustainable agricultural practices sourcing a part of our wines from high environmental value and Terraviti certified suppliers. Our oak barrels produced entirely in France are sourced from forests sustainably managed by the National Forestry Office. And since January 2021, 100% of wines used in Lillet's making process are now supplied by tankers fueled with bioethanol, produced locally with grapes waste, therefore reducing Maison Lillet's carbon emissions by 24 tons each year. And this was made possible thanks to our great partnership with Transport Vena. About the elaboration, it's a traditional French elaboration made by passionate people. 100% of fruits used in the infusion process are combusted less than 30 kilometers away from Maison Lillet. We recycle over 97% of the waste generated during the production process. And we also work on reducing our energy consumption. In fact, producing a bottle of Lillet is today requiring 50% less energy and water than in 2017. So to answer your question, Vincent, the change of our packaging was just a logical continuation of our CSR approach in order to reduce our environmental impacts. And today, we will concentrate on our latest work with packaging and present to you the gain on carbon emissions we registered in this field.
Thanks, Lisa. At UPM, we are used to categorizing our actions and products with the famous 4R: reduce, recycled, renew, recycling, or reuse. It is a simple and effective way to identify the ecological benefit. In this logic, it would be interesting to understand the action you have taken to improve your performance and strengthen the value of the brand. Let's be concrete and start with your bottle. What actions have you implemented to respond to ecological and economic constraints?
The improvements made on the bottle are the most important in terms of environmental impact, even if it's not visually apparent. So as you said, Vincent, if we don't know that changes has been made on the bottle, it is very difficult to notice because both bottles are very similar. We made the bottle lighter by reducing its weight by 80% from 600 to 490. And the rate of recycled glass has been increased by almost 12%, thanks to our glass producer, which is OI, a great manufacturer in the center of France. These initiatives have reduced the carbon footprints by 52 grams of carbon equivalent per bottle. And add to this, the shape of the bottle has been adapted to protect the label during shipments by creating a reserve.
You introduced a crucial topic because overpackaging is a favorite target when we talk about waste reduction. Could you develop that point?
Yes. Just to explain, the creation of the bottle reserve has made it possible to remove the cardboard partitions that were previously in the cardboard cases to protect labels. The other change made on the cardboard was to stop bleaching our cardboards. As you can see on the slide, it switched white into craft. And we also resout the graphics to reduce the amount of ink used. So these changes have resulted in a gain of 39 gram carbon equivalent per case. Noted that our cardboard cases are 100% recycled and FSC certified, which is an environmental label for sustainable forest management.
Thanks, Lisa. And now the label. This is a topic we know quite well because you have chosen a UPM Raflatac material, our forest film. For those who are not yet familiar with this major innovation, this is a film made exclusively from renewable wood-based raw material within an IACC certified value chain, allowing to gradually replace films of fossil origin. And re-recycle your glassine thanks our Rafcycle process, and this is the case for all the Pernod Ricard sites in France. Lisa, do you want to react on this topic?
Yes, of course. In fact, there is no visual or technical impact of this change, but a real positive environmental impact with the reduction of 66% of carbon emissions by using 100% wood-based solution. And in continuous improvement process, We are constantly looking for new solutions to meet our customers' expectations and to offer a product that is ever more sustainable.
Let's be frank. An action that is effective from a sustainability point of view must also be effective economically. Logistic is a very important variable. What are your improvements on this topic?
Yes, because it is not only the carbon emissions from packaging that have been reduced, we have also been able to reduce our carbon emissions in terms of logistics thanks to the lightening of the packaging. It is now possible to load 31 pallets in a truck instead of 29 and 21 pallets instead of 19 in a container. This has reduced the number of trucks and containers and therefore the amounts of carbon emissions, which represents 222 tons of carbon equivalents corresponding to 1 year of production for us today. And let's talk about the global carbon emission gains on this packaging improvement. Overall, so the project has resulted in a reduction of 352 grams per pack. And if we consider as a year of production, which is 14 million bottles, including the gain in carbon emissions represented by transport, this results in a reduction of 1,060 tons of carbon equivalents. To illustrate this figure, 1,060 tons of carbon emissions are equivalent to 1,060 round-trip flights from Paris to New York.
A question for Cécile now, and I know that it's a trick question for you. We are talking today to a community of designers, and I cannot miss this question that some must ask themselves. Why didn't you take advantage of this repack to change the graphics of the label?
So, as you can see on these slides, the Lillet labels have known small changes over the past, and more recently, you have the past 20 years history down on the slide. By small touches, we come with history here, so we need to respect the history of Lillet and do it just like the consumer does. You can see we still have the Bordeaux lions that were here right from the start, and as well as the key colors. It appears that the consumers, even though sometimes we like to improve and modernize and do a lot of things on labels, the consumer likes this idea of historical anchor. It represents our authenticity and it reassures the consumer on the product inside. So it's very difficult to change anything, especially in these uncertain times. So this time we preferred concentrating on the content and reinforce our brand value rather than on the surface, which does not mean that the marketing department is not constantly thinking it over. We are now looking always for the next step to be even more valuable in our carbon emission gains.
Thank you, Cécile. That's all from our side. Thank you very much to you, Lisa and Cécile. And if we have a question, it's time. Don't be shy.
Great. Well, thank you so much, guys, for a wonderful presentation. And we do have some questions, and I'll kick off with the first one. Where have we gone? Okay, so what would you attribute to your 33% in sales and growth increase during COVID? And I know obviously more people are at home, but was there anything else? Was it the marketing campaigns, or let us know?
Yeah, sure. Just to be explicit, we've been having this growth for the past 10 years. So each year we grow by 20 to 30% now. We produce 10 times more than 10 years ago. So it's we're quite used to it now. So yes, during COVID, I'm not sure it really had an impact, COVID. This is due to the fact that we have a very good product first, and also thanks to a great distribution team with the Pernod Ricard affiliates abroad, who had a great strategy of launching Lillet by field everywhere. And also this particular year in the world, we had our first campaign, world first marketing campaign. So yes, I'm sure that contributes to our success.
Great. We've got time for another question. Actually, somebody said, Mario, congratulations everybody, a really nice sustainability project. So that must be nice to hear. We've got one other here. Are you thinking about expanding to another packaging size?
Every option is possible. Right now, we only have one type of bottles, and small ones, but we have cases of 12, cases of 6. That's about it. But yes, we have innovations at the forefront in our minds at Lillet and Pernod Ricard. So we are thinking about new everything.
Great. I guess just one comment, I mean, from seeing your presentation, what I loved was the statistic about 97% of your waste is used and reused. And I honestly think any brand or corporation now that are doing that and really thinking about that as their purpose, it is an amazing thing. And I think any business should take note of that. And obviously you're leading the line for that. And congratulations on an amazing product. And I think what's also very clear is that you didn't need to change the design. What you've been doing is changing all of the back side in terms of the materials and the weight and the sustainability, which is also something great to see that you put your energy into that. So thank you so much for a great presentation. Thanks to Vincent. Thanks to Lisa.
You're welcome.
Thanks to Cécile.
It was nice to share. Thank you.
Take care. So everyone, in case you have missed any of the presentations over the last few days, they are going to be available on demand next week on our Vimeo and YouTube accounts. It's been an epic few days at the Pentawards Festival 2022. It has been online, and I'm going to let you know that it's my dream to bring this festival to life, hopefully this year. So fingers crossed, I'll let you know more soon. Thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you to the team, and of course, everybody watching at home. Thank you for your questions, for your comments, for your shares. You can continue the conversation online using our social channels and using the hashtag Pentawards Spring Festival. Just a reminder, the Pentawards competition closes on the 1st of April. You've only got 8 days to submit your wonderful entries. And again, just a shout out to any students watching. Take a look at our new briefs from Lego and with OI alongside design briefs. There's some wonderful prizes, including having your winning conceptual entries made into real life and some internships. And lastly, we are going to be announcing very soon where our gala ceremony will be held this year, so keep your eyes peeled. I'm Adam Ryan, I'm head of Pentawards. You've been watching Pentawards Festival 2022. Thank you, stay safe and take care.